Back here on the Evening Edge, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8. Starting Monday, May 1st, the show will kick off at 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And, yeah, we have some collaboration out there. Is that the right word? I don't think collaboration is the word I'm looking for. Confirmation. Yeah, somebody sent me a picture of the Jeep that hit the house on Woodman. It looks like it is just north of Vale Drive off of Woodman. I think that's right, if I'm have my directions correct. But, yeah, that looks pretty bad. It's the whole front portion of the house looks like it's been taken out. That is crazy. And it's hard to tell from these pictures exactly how it happened. Like, what path the car took. But somebody's going to go out there and said they're going to take more pictures and send them. So, hey, just be careful out there, all right? But that would be number 35 for the year, 937-457-1290. All right, so here's this Florida man story that we had last night, and I'm gonna go ahead and open up the Florida man, Florida man again because every single crime, stupefying and delicious. Some might even think fictitious. Florida man is always ambitious. So last night we had, towards the end of the show, we had a Florida man story. And this is quite disturbing. And I brought it up because a lot of people here in the Miami Valley love to travel to Florida for Disney, right? They love just going to all the different parks, and they do it. Many people I know do it every year. It's like a yearly thing for them. So that's why I brought this story up. Plus, it's a Florida man, and Florida man is nuts, right? A Disney employee who was working at the Star Wars store at their Hollywood movie park was arrested after he was spotted taking an upskirt shot of an 18-year-old woman. Somebody spotted this guy doing this. So security confronted him, and right then and there, he admitted it. He said, yep, I did it. I'm guilty. They looked at the video. They were able to track the woman down in the park and say, hey, this happened. And she's like, well, I knew nothing about this, obviously. But he admitted that he had done this. And when they examined his phone, and if you don't know, smartphones, you can back up your smartphone to a number of space, like cloud, servers or whatever. So you can store a ton. This guy said, and they saw that he had 500 photos and videos of different women that he had filmed, I guess, all at Disney. And that is very shocking, right? Not surprising, but it's shocking. The thing that's beleaguering to me is that he's been doing this for 6 years. For 6 years, this guy's been working at Disney, and nobody spotted him. And he's got 500 videos and photos of women that he has taken. And, I don't know if that's called assault. It very well could be in some jurisdictions. But now the thing is, the police, and one of the stories I saw, because there's a bunch of stories about this, they're trying to decide if they are going to attempt to identify everybody that's in the pictures and the videos. Now, I would imagine that the law enforcement agencies have that sort of facial recognition kind of thing that is creepy and Big Brother-ish. Maybe this would be one of those times when, okay, this is a good thing. But my question is, if you're a woman and you hear about this, if you were one of those people who had their picture taken, would you want to know it? I asked my wife this last night, and I'm like, if you went to a store and it comes out in the news that some creeper was there doing this, would you want to know? And she's like, no, I don't want to know. And I thought that was kind of what most women would say. I had a couple of calls last night towards the end of the show when this first came up. And the one woman I spoke to was like, yeah, I don't want to know. I don't want to know at all. Now, of course, if this video or photo makes it online and you are somehow identified in the picture, you could see your face or whatever, then yeah, you want to know. But then that's when you get the police involved. That's when you get lawyers involved. And you go after whoever posted it and whoever, keeps posting it until it's gone, or hopefully it's gone. But as my wife told me this morning, she said, once it's online, it's always online. But I would love to talk to a woman's perspective on this, because that was the story last night. I have another story of another Florida man in Naples who did the same thing at a Target store. Now, this guy didn't do, at least according to the story, or maybe they haven't uncovered it yet, he didn't take 500 videos and photos. As far as the police know, and I'm sure he did this successfully before he was caught, because that's the way it always is, right? When somebody gets caught doing something, especially this kind of thing, it's not the first time they did it when they got caught. They've probably been doing it for a bit. But this guy, apparently, the first time he was observed happened back on April 15th. A woman was shopping at the Target store with 3 kids, and she noticed the suspect closely following her around the store. And she notified authorities. Doesn't say in the story if police, tracked this guy down or what the case was, what sort of investigation occurred. But then a couple of days later, he was spotted doing the same thing. And at that point, they got him. They arrested him. And of course, he was fired from his job, and now he's facing 2 felony sex crimes. But I remember there was a story maybe a year or so ago about this very thing happening at a local Kohl's. And apparently it happened a number of times, and it was the same guy, and he was busted for it, and he was charged with the crimes, and I think he might have done time. But then he got busted again doing it. And that's one of those things where I feel like, people can't control themselves. And this guy, the Disney employee, said, yeah, I got this problem. And I keep doing it. So now, he's going to end up one of these convicted people where they're not allowed to have electronic devices. Every once in a while, you see a story like that. Whether it's child pornography or it's voyeurism or, this kind of thing, whatever it is. It's like the judge says, you cannot use technology. You can't have computers. You can't have cell phones. You can't have smartwatch. You can't have anything. Anything that you could use in an illicit way, you are not allowed to have. And sometimes they follow it, but probably most times they don't. But I'd love to talk to a woman and get her perspective on this, because I think most would be like, I don't want to know. What I don't know can't hurt me. But I'll tell you what, there are probably a lot of people listening right now who went to Disney sometime in the last 5 or 6 years, and the women are thinking, did I wear a skirt? Were we at the Star Wars exhibit? What? So just get your take on that. 937-457-1290. I talked about this at the beginning of the show. Chocolate is no longer America's favorite sweet treat. Yeah. I like this song. Haven't heard in a while. Mama, she said, roly poly, Papa, he said, holy moly, everybody wanted chocolate. Chocolate. All the bucket ready, everybody wanted chocolate. So, according to a report by Business Insider, Americans are now spending more money on something else than on chocolate. Now, Will, my producer tonight, good to have you back. It's been a while. What would you say is America's favorite new item that they like to spend their money on besides chocolate? Like a little treat, a little something that you do for yourself to make you feel good. It's not chocolate. It's something else. What would be your guess?
So it's another type of sweet treat?
I would just say this. It's another type of treat.
Okay. Brownies.
You think brownies?
I don't know. Sure.
Well, believe it or not, in 2022, Americans shelled out an estimated $3 billion on marijuana.
Well, I was kind of right there.
That is $10 billion more than the $20 billion that consumers spent on chocolate.
Wow.
We've spent more money as a country on pot than we did on chocolate. Isn't that something?
That's hard to believe.
It's really hard to believe. Of course, marijuana is still legal at the federal level and classified as a Schedule I drug, though it's legal for recreational use in 21 states and medicinal use in 17 others. Another report estimates that by 2028, Americans will spend roughly $56 billion a year on marijuana. So,
wow.
Here in the States, we love our pot, I guess, more than we love our chocolate.
It's the Evening Edge with Todd Hollst.
Call Todd now, 937-457-1290, or message him at Evening Edge Todd.
Locally grown, seriously funny on WHIO.
All right, everybody. Sorry for the false start earlier. We had an issue with the transmission of the show because I played Deo by Harry Belafonte, who, of course, passed away this morning. And Facebook blocked my feed because I was playing that song. So sorry about that, but I'm back on. Thank you, Frank, for giving me the heads up. I appreciate it. Yeah, the problem was that I played Deo. It's ridiculous, but it is what it is. I appreciate you guys sticking with the show and getting me through that little hiccup. Yeah, it is kind of dumb. But, what are you going to do? That's why a lot of you folks that are listening are newer to the show. And a couple of years ago, I was on, my podcast was on Spotify. It was on, Stitcher and Apple Podcasts and Google Play. And there's a bunch of other places it shows up. But it used to be on Spotify. And I haven't done one in a while, but sometimes on Friday nights, I'll do like an all request show and I'll play clips of songs. It might be some sort of theme that day. Like one year, I remember we did it was National One Hit Wonder Day or something like that. So, we just played requests of one hit wonders. And I was playing clips throughout the show. I don't play the whole song. I usually play maybe a minute or so, maybe a minute and a half, depending on the song. But that happened enough, I guess, where Spotify just kicked me off the platform. So, yeah. Trying to get back on Spotify, but we'll see what happens. Yeah, I just got a message from somebody else wanting to know. No feed? Oh, we're there. We're there. We're back now. We're back. Sorry. Sorry. Well, Lyle, it's not that we can't play certain songs. It's just that every song that we play, we have to pay an ASCAP or BMI fee for it. Like we have to pay a percentage. It's super small, but that license that we have doesn't include streaming for what I do. So here, we're coming back.
It's with Todd Hollst.
Back here on the Evening Edge, Monday through Friday from 6 to 8. Beginning Monday, May 1st, the show will start at 5 p.m. Moving up an hour. And it will air 5 to 7. Well, this bumper that I'm playing, if you're not familiar, Will knows who this is. He's a big fan. Taylor Swift. You're not a Swiftie? I'm sort of becoming a Swiftie, to be honest with you. She posted the other night that she fell down backstage at one of her shows, and she's on this gigantic, monstrous tour, and she cut her hand. She fell down. And I also heard that earlier in the week, or maybe sometime last week, country artist Morgan Wallen fell off the stage. And then I started thinking back. There's been, like, in the last year, several instances of rock stars falling off the stage. And I was trying to think back from when I was a kid and really following rock bands and rock stars and all that. If I recall people falling off the stage, and I don't remember that happening quite a bit or at all. I'm sure it happened, but I just never heard about it. The first I remember specifically was actually not terribly long ago. Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters. Now, Dave Grohl, if you don't know the story, they were playing a show, and I think the show had just sort of begun. And he tripped somehow, but fell off the front of the stage and broke his leg. Broke his leg. And you know what they did? They lifted him up. They put a chair on the stage, propped his leg up, handed him a guitar, and he finished the show. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I don't know how many rock stars would actually do that. They fell off the stage. Now, of course, if they fall off the stage and are not senseless, can't really go on with the show. I understand that. But I don't know when Taylor's injury occurred. I think it might have happened during a costume change. And it's dark back there. If you've never been backstage at a concert, it's very, very dark, obviously. And you try to know where everything is. And they've got tape that sort of glows on the ground. But sometimes things happen. And I think she just wrapped her hand and got back in the game. So that's kind of cool. But she's a hardcore lover of her fans, that's for sure. I don't see her as being one who's going to skip out because she fell backstage and hurt her hand.
It's the Evening Edge with Todd Hollst.
Call Todd now, 937-457-1290, or message him at Evening Edge Todd.
Locally grown, seriously funny on WHIO.
Oh, Larry. That's rough. That's rough. What band were you playing in? Larry, what was the band? Wicked Gypsy. That's cool. Yeah, I know what you're saying, Lyle. I was never a fan of the Long Island iced tea, but when I used to go to the alternative nightclub that used to be downtown, if you remember, do you remember the Asylum? They used to serve me Alabama Slammers. Just ridiculous. Alabama Slammers. Bama Slammers. That's right. And it was dangerous because we the station I worked at, The Edge, the alternative station, did all kinds of promotions out there, and they only charged me $1 a drink. Oh. Now listen up, y'all. I got a story to tell about a radio show that'll ring your bell. In Dayton, Ohio, I'm bringing the flow on the evening edge. WHIO. When you're in your car, coming home from work, and you're feeling like you need a little perk, tune me in and I'll ease your mind. A shot of fun will help you unwind. I've got stories and parodies. A darn good time is guaranteed. I'm rapping with callers from all around. Some sound crazy and some profound. All week long I'm on the air, laying it down with casino flair. You never really know what you're gonna get from a cocaine bear or a giant cheesette. So if you're in Dayton or far away, the evening edge, a tasty entree. And that's my rapping, I'm keeping it tight. My name is Todd and I'm dropping the mic. It is the Evening Edge, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8. Starting next Monday, May 1st. New time for the show. Starts at 5. And I've had a lot of people ask me, well, why are they doing this? And I'll tell you, it's been a long time goal of WHIO to have a live local talk show in the 5 o'clock hour. And it's just common sense when you think about it. 5 o'clock is the time most, not all, but many, many, many people get in their car and go home after the day at work. So that 5 o'clock hour is one of the most listened to hours of the day on a radio station. And for a very, very long time, there was a syndicated show in there, Sean Hannity. And I was trying to think, we were talking about it last week. I can't think the last time there was a live show in the 5 o'clock hour. It might have been prior to 2000. It might have been prior to like 1998. I mean, that's how long ago it was. And it's been a long time trying to get a local show back in the 5 o'clock hour. And, you know, I came along and they said, oh, okay, well, this show's got some potential. Let's give it a shot. So they put it on Sunday. Did well there. I filled in and did a show during the COVID pandemic that people tuned into every day. And that's how I ended up doing the Evening Edge. That started, what was it, 7 to 9, and then it was 6:30 to 8, and now 6 to 8, of course, and then next Monday 5 to 7. So we just keep kind of moving up. So that's why we're doing it. People ask the question. It's going to be Hannity 3 to 5, me 5 to 7, and then that third hour of Hannity from 7 to 8. And as I said last week, and I don't mean this as a slight to Sean Hannity at all, but you know, when I come in here, I'm preparing for the show. I hear Hannity, and he repeats a lot of what he says prior or earlier in the show during that 5 o'clock hour. So it's not like you're really missing anything new. He kind of goes through things over and over and over again. So, you know, if you miss that 5 o'clock hour, you can always listen at 7, or you could just watch him on TV later that night. So there you go. That's why we're doing it. People ask the question, and that's the answer. 937-457-1290. Got a question for you. Are you sick and tired of mowing your lawn? Nobody likes mowing, and that's why I have Jose, our lawn guy, cut our lawn. Yeah, I don't cut my own lawn anymore. I used to, and then my wife said, well, you're going to fall and kill yourself. Don't want that. So, plus we live on a big hill. We have a big hill in our yard, and I will just tumble and roll. So we have somebody who's much more agile than I doing it. But if you are sick of mowing your lawn, I saw this story today, and I'm not sure that I would, as much as I like caring for the environment, I'm not sure I'm going to join the no mow movement. And this is a real thing. It's a conservation initiative intended to create a healthy and sustainable ecosystem in your yard. Now, I love bees. I am a big fan of bees. Honeybees rock. And if you've paid attention to the news, you know over the years, there have been some issues with the number of honeybees disappearing. And it's a concern because they don't just make honey for your toast. They do all kinds of pollination, and they're a huge part of the ecosystem. But this no mow movement is a holistic, I love that word, holistic approach to landscaping that reduces the need for chemicals, irrigation, and regular traditional lawn maintenance. And essentially what they're saying is just stop cutting your yard. Just stop cutting your lawn. And I'm not sure where this would work, because most communities have rules against that. Right? You can't just let your lawn go. You'll end up with one of those signs in the front yard saying this house is in violation of the mowing ordinance. But the people who support this say reduces time and money spent mowing, weed whacking. Though I really enjoy weed whacking. It's very cathartic to me. I love taking the weed whacker and just whacking weeds wherever I see them. Makes me feel powerful. Also, fertilizing and watering your yard. The butterflies love tall grass, they say, but so do all the other bugs. And if you have dogs like we do, you got to cut the lawn. You can't, especially if it's a little dog like our Maltipoo and Bichon Shih Tzu. They're tiny, they're small. They get lost in the tall grass. But they do say that the benefits of no mowing allow the return of insects and foraging pollinators. Also, by allowing native plants, weeds, in other words, to grow, your yard will drink more water, reducing storm water runoff. Now, let me ask you a question. Are you more concerned about the weeds in your yard or trying to reduce the stormwater runoff? I'm more concerned about the weeds in my yard. I was looking out the back patio window this morning, and boy, oh boy, it is dandelion season in the Miami Valley. We must have 30 or 40 of them back there. Now, that's probably not a lot compared to other people, but it was concerning to me. And this came up in a conversation with my wife a week or so ago, and I said, look, I don't know if you've looked outside, because we were putting some mulch down. I was adjusting landscape lighting that sort of had, moved during the winter. And she's like, oh, no, it's fine. Don't worry about it. The bees love it. The bees love the dandelions. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I would ever join the no-mow movement. I like the idea of a, beautifully groomed yard. Now, maybe if I lived out in the country somewhere and I had a huge lot, maybe there would be an area that just out of sheer laziness of not wanting to mow it, I would just let it grow up and go nuts. You go to Lowe's or you go to Menards and you buy those packets of like wildflowers. And I would buy like 50 packs and I would just sprinkle all out in the yard, let them grow up, just let it flourish, be beautiful. And I wouldn't have to go out and, or I shouldn't say me, I wouldn't have to send Jose out to cut the grass. 937-457-1290. We have a cowspiracy story. Well, I do have a belief that the cows are conspiring and trying to take over the world. This story caught my attention. This happened earlier this week in Israel. A cow, and there's video of this, a cow wandered into a hardware store. Sounds like the beginnings of a joke. Cow walked into a hardware store in Israel and was caught on camera knocking paint cans off the shelf. Now, I've never been to Israel. I've seen video, of course, of Israel. I'm assuming that Israel, there's probably parts of Israel that might be more rural than others. But every time I see videos of Israel, it looks just like a regular city, like a metropolitan city. Now, we've certainly had stories where cows get loose in big cities. It happens. It happens. But like last night, we had the story of the guy who died in India because he was taking a leak on the train track, and a speeding train traveling at around 100 miles an hour hit a cow that was on its track and sent the cow flying through the air and hit the guy who was taking the leak. Cows generally, I don't think, just wander around aimlessly in Israel like they do in parts of India. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe somebody who's been to Israel can enlighten me on that. But somehow this cow got into a hardware store in Israel, The shop owner says the cow caused more than $800 worth of damage by knocking off all the items from the shelves, including the paint. But the bovine was only there for a short time, the shop owner says. Few minutes, and he just strolled out. He said birds sometimes enter the store, but the cow visitor was the first of its species to visit the hardware store. So there's a crazy cowspiracy story. The cow's creeping into the hardware store.
It's the Evening Edge with Todd Hollst.
Call Todd now, 937-457-1290, or message him at eveningedgetodd.
Locally grown, seriously funny on WHIO.
All right, let's see. What do we got here? Yeah, Frank, it's a moostery. Actually, I had another cow story I didn't get to. It's about these, and you talk about a mystery. It's about these cows being, boy, I don't know what you call it. Mutilated? Yeah. In Texas. It says authorities are baffled by recent mystery that has occurred among cattle herds along a southeast central Texas highway. Several dead cows with select missing body parts. About a half dozen cows have been discovered. Some with their sex organs removed, others with their tongues removed. They were discovered on different ranches. The report says that there are no signs of struggle or tracks, adding that the grass surrounding the deceased animal was undisturbed and that a straight, clean cut was made with precision to remove the cow parts with little or no blood spill. That is crazy. Maybe I'll talk about that here. Wow. Ashley, do they really? Wow. Getting more pictures of the car that crashed into the house in Here on the Evening Edge, Monday through Friday from 6 to 8, beginning Monday, 5 to 7. Getting more photos sent to me of the Jeep that crashed into a house in Kettering on Woodman Drive, there at the corner of Woodman and Vale. It's like a white Jeep Cherokee, and just took the front of a house completely off. I haven't heard if there were any injuries. Hopefully not. If there were, hopefully nothing serious. But that's number 35 for the year. And I'm sure we will have an actual news story, a news report on WHIO.com pretty shortly. 937-457-1290. So I started the show off tonight talking about this contest that we're doing here on WHIO. It's the payroll payout, and 5 times a day you can win $1,000. When you hear the keyword, you just go to our website or you pull up the WHIO app. You click on the little hamburger. I don't know why it's called a hamburger menu, but it's called a hamburger menu. You see the lines. Looks like the layers of a hamburger. Will, what are you shaking your head for? That's exactly everybody call.
I just never knew that.
Yeah. It's the hamburger menu.
That's new to me.
I think that's what they call it. I've always heard it. Maybe your generation has a different term for it. But anyway, open it up and you'll see the entry, and you can put in the keyword that you hear. Now I bring that up because my wife sent to me a BuzzFeed, or was it BuzzFeed? It might have been a BuzzFeed, but it was from Reddit. Okay? Reddit. And it was a list of items that people have won a lifetime supply of. And I went through some of these earlier, but there are some great contests where people have won lifetime supply of something, and it didn't turn out the way they had hoped. And I thought, well, since we're doing the contest, since I got this list, I would love to hear from you what sort of contests you have won in your life. Maybe you won Publisher Clearinghouse. Maybe you won the lottery. Maybe you won some big raffle. Perhaps you won a car. That kind of thing. I was thinking back, I won a couple of things in my life where I wasn't it wasn't a competition. Like I remember one year I won some money. I forget how much it was, but I sold the most magazines at the school, Maine Elementary in Beaver Creek. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about like you just enter your name and you win. Or maybe you win it on the radio. I mentioned this the other night. I won a couple of items from WHIO radio many, many years ago with Bob Sweeney. And, that kind of thing. So maybe you've won something you'd like to share. Here's a couple, and I thought were good. One woman says that she won a year supply of Pepperidge Farms. Now, this is a year supply of Milano's cookies. And she said that she and her boyfriend, and she didn't say how many that they got, but she said they ate them all in 3 months. I would think like a pack of cookies, maybe a week? I would think it would be 52 packs, right? 1 pack a week. That seems reasonable. One person wrote they won free groceries for life at the local grocery store in a raffle. They gave this person a digital $100 gift card every month, and they still get it. All these years later, it says about 10 years, they still get the $100 gift card every month. It's pretty good. I guess it runs out after they, what does they say? Gets to 15,000. Somebody else won a lifetime supply of fruit roll-ups. Says it was gone within a year, partly because his parents gave away about half of it. By the time I saw the delivery, it was down to 6 large master cartons with multiple retail boxes inside. See, that's the problem with a lot of these stories where people win a lifetime supply or a year supply of something. It all comes at once, and there's nothing you can do about it. Where are you going to put him? This guy. Now, see here, people would love to win this. I bet many people would. A lifetime supply of Oreos. It was actually just one pallet full of Oreos. Probably would last a normal person their whole life. It was like 1,000 pounds of Oreos. He says he gave so many away. He always volunteered to bring the Oreos. He ended up donating about 400 pounds of Oreos to a shelter just to get him out of his garage. See, it sounds great when on the surface, you're like, oh, I'm going to win a year's supply or a lifetime supply. But not if you don't have any place to store them. Jeff in Beaver Creek. What's up, Jeff?
Hey, how you doing, Todd?
Good.
I never won anything remarkable, but did I ever tell you the story about my dog named Speed?
Yeah, I think you have.
Oh, okay.
No, but go ahead. Hit it again. It's been a while. I forget the punchline, Jeff.
Yeah, so my dad and I were out in the garage working on our cars, and I had a pan of gas out there. We're cleaning parts in the gas, and my dog Speed came out of the house, ran over to the pan, and drank a whole bunch of gas out of the pan. Then Speed took off, ran around the house about 3-4 times. It was amazing. I never saw anything like it in my life.
Right. Yeah.
And he ran around a tree about 4 times, and then he ran around in a circle, and then he fell over.
No.
Yeah, it was terrible.
What was wrong with him?
He ran out of gas.
Yeah, Jeff, that's pretty much how I remember it.
Yeah, okay. You have a good evening.
You too.
It's the Evening Edge with Todd Hollst.
Call Todd now, 937-457-1290, or message him at evening@todd.
Locally grown, seriously funny on WHIO.
Lifetime supply of X-Lax. Wow. That is quite the prize. Ashley, I wish. I'm still just doing 2 hours. They're just moving it from 6 to 8 to 5 to 7. So it's still just 2 hours. But I'm happy for the move. It'll be nice to be done with the show earlier in the evening so I could get home and spend more time with my wife. Yep, same commercials. Lyle, I hope that's the case. Hope that's the case. Hey, Alex, thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate you watching tonight on YouTube. Thank you. Yeah, I'd like to do 3 hours at some point, but, as they say, baby steps. I mean, the truth is, Hannity's not going to do a show forever, right? Coming back here. Back here on the Evening Edge, Monday through Friday, 6 to 8. And starting next week, 5 to 7. Talking about big prizes that maybe you've won in your life. Had a list of some pretty cool prizes that people have won. Some of these lifetime supplies of whatever. Now, imagine if you were a 13-year-old boy and you were growing up in the late 70s, early 80s. This might be the coolest prize that you could ever imagine winning. This guy in this article that my wife sent to me, it was I think it was BuzzFeed anyway. 13 years old, back in 1977, he won a contest for a lifetime supply of models from Revell, like plastic car models. A semi-truck pulled up to our house in a very quiet suburban neighborhood and proceeded to unload 4 pallets of plastic models in the driveway. There were hundreds of models, probably one of everything they offered in their catalog at the time. Can you imagine the glory that this 13-year-old must have felt? But he didn't keep them all. Dad found a local retail hobby store to buy the models that the kid didn't keep, which I guess were quite a few, and they bought them. They bought the models at a reasonable value and then turned around and sold them. Dad took the cash that he got, bought U.S. savings bonds, and the 13-year-old, when he was able to put a down payment on a car. Pretty cool. 937-457-1290. Stella in Huber Heights. What's up, Stella?
Hello.
Hey, how you doing, Stella?
I'm good. And it's Della with a D.
Oh, Della. I'm sorry. It says Stella. That's okay.
No worries. I've been a frequent caller of your show ever since I started listening to you because I love your show.
Oh, well, thank you so much. Hang on. I'll give you a little casino bell love there.
Well, I appreciate the casinos, but
sure.
What I called in for is the only thing I've ever won in my life was my Peter Frampton tickets for your show.
Wait a second. That's the only thing you've ever won in your life?
Yes.
A pair of tickets on this show? That's the thing that you've won in your life?
Yes.
Wow.
I was so stoked about it.
You have a what? Say that again.
I said I was stoked about it. I couldn't have been happier.
Oh, sure. Now, do you enter contests generally and you just don't have any luck, or?
You're the only show I listen to with my work schedule and whatnot. It always just works out, and I love your show.
Well, gee whiz. Thank you so much. Well, I will have more tickets to give away here in the next couple weeks for some fun stuff, I promise. Okay?
Well, I love that. That's amazing. But yeah, I just called in to say, no, the most amazing thing I've ever won is my Peter Frampton ticket.
Well, I'm glad, and you got him, right? I emailed him to you, didn't you? Didn't you get him?
You did.
All right. All right. All right.
And me and my husband are going.
All right, Della. Thanks for your call. I appreciate it. That line's open, 937-457-1290. Now, see, that's such a small thing. Right? When you win a contest on a radio station, it seems like a small thing, but it could really be a big deal. I remember, and this is a true story, and it's the silliest thing in the world, but this is absolutely true. When I was about 13 or 14 years old, I was listening to the top 40 station that was in town at the time, Z93. Many people probably remember that station. And they used to give away music, like albums or CDs or whatever. Well, this was during the era of vinyl records. And one night I was up, and this was probably, I was listening to the radio. It was probably like 1 o'clock in the morning. They said, caller 9. And by the way, it's always been caller 9 for almost every radio station I've ever worked at. Caller 9 is always the winner. That's why I pick caller 5 because I just like to be different. But I was caller number 9. And I talked to the DJ on the air, and he, played my voice on the air, and I won an album. I won the John Cafferty and the Beaver Brown Band album. I still have it. But what was funny is that like an hour later, maybe less than that, half an hour later, I'm in my bedroom, again, middle of the night, living at home with mom and dad because I'm only like 12 or 13. And I hear on my bedroom door. And my dad says, "You got a phone call." Now, he's not happy about this, as any parent would not be happy about getting a phone call. And this, of course, was before cell phones. So when the phone rang, everybody woke up and heard it. So I thought, well, maybe it's the radio station. That was weird. Like, what's the story? So I go and answer it. And it's two girls who heard my voice on the radio and thought I had a nice voice and thought I had a cute voice. So somehow they got my phone number from the DJ who was working at the radio station and called my house in the middle of the night. Isn't that crazy? That's, I think, one of the first times I won a prize on the radio. Just a weird story. Scott, somewhere in Ohio. What's up, Scott?
Yeah, I was got a comment about that guy that was taking them pictures of them women.
Oh, yeah. We had the story about the guy in Florida taking the upskirt shots. He did. He had 500 videos and pictures on his phone, and he said he'd been doing it at Disney for about 6 years before he was caught.
Well, I think that was quite a long time for him to be doing that. You know, I thought about it, and the only way I can think that he got away with it for so long was he was hiding behind the bush.
Oh, Lord. Oh, Scott, you're killing me. 937-457-1290. I couldn't give him applause for that. You just couldn't do that. People who are watching on the live stream, somebody asked this question. Whatever happened to the talking magic 8-ball? Alex is asking. I think he means the amazing Edge Fari. I guess this is probably what he's talking about.
I have no idea.
Yeah. He's still here. The amazing Edge Fari is still here answering questions. I know I don't pull it out very often, but it's always available. If you have a question that you have that you're uncertain of and you need some guidance, you can always ask the amazing Edge Fari. For example, we're talking about contest. Amazing Edge Fari, will I ever win the Powerball?
Most likely a no.
See, there you go. Kind of answers the question. Puts my mind at ease. Lets me go on with my day. Brad and Pickle, what's up, Brad?
Hey, so a little bit ago, you talked about how the 13-year-old boy won the models.
Yeah, all the plastic models from Revell.
Yeah, that sounds pretty cool, actually, and it would be cool for someone like even now. That would be super cool.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm guessing Revell is still in business, making models. Yeah. Do you now? I know you've called the show many times. You're 13, right?
Yep.
Are you interested in building models?
I would. Yeah, I would. I've never really built too many, but yeah. Yeah.
So let me ask you a question, because I was one time 13, Brad.
Yeah.
And I know the things that I was interested in. Yeah, I was interested in models. I was interested in music. I was interested in Hot Wheels and Matchbox cars and, Star Wars action figures and all that. As a 13-year-old today, what are the things you are interested in? Are you interested in any of that? Or is it nothing but video games, video games, video games?
Well, there's a lot of music. I really like music.
Like, what kind of music are you into? Are you a rap fan? Do you like the rap?
Not really.
How about country? Do you like country music?
Absolutely not. Nope. Keep that stuff
No?
away from me.
How about, do you like big band music?
I'm not totally sure. I just kind of like listen to whatever.
Like Glenn Miller? No?
I actually never heard that name in my entire life.
All right. So maybe 80s rock. How about 80s rock?
Oh, 80s is nice. I like 80s music.
Yeah. How about, do you like Rick Springfield?
Not totally sure I've ever heard his name.
How about Duran Duran?
Again, I listen to the music. I don't.
No, I understand. Oh, okay. How about Guns N' Roses?
I've heard of that. Yes.
Yeah. Do you know the band members Slash and Axl and Dizzy Reed and Izzy and Duff? No.
Sorry, I was talking to my sister. Pardon.
Oh, tell her to leave you alone. You're on the phone.
Yeah. Leave me alone, Emily.
All right. Well, I'm glad you like the music.
Yeah, I like music. I like Star Wars, not so much the action figures anymore, but I do like Star Wars.
Really? Who's your favorite Star Wars character?
Oh, geez, there's so many. I'm probably gonna say Boba Fett, though.
Oh, Boba Fett. He's one of the Mandalorian, right?
Yeah, he's Jango Fett's clone.
Ah, see, I don't know who Jango Fett is. I know who Boba Fett is.
Oh.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate you calling, Brad.
Absolutely. Have a nice day.
You too. There you go. See, I think Brad one day might be a talk radio host. He's very personable on the air, and in fact, and I don't want to blow up his ego here, but the guy who consults my show, Pete Spriggs, who used to work here many years ago and hired me back in the 90s, and then for a long time was the program director of WSB in Atlanta. He heard a tape of my show, or not a tape, that would be cassette tape, but he heard my show, and he heard Brad on the phone talking to me, and he said, "That kid sounds great. He sounds like he's like a young you," which I thought was pretty cool. Tim in Beaver Creek, what's up, Tim?
Tuesday evening greetings, Todd.
How are you? Please give me a better joke than the joke we had a little while ago.
Well, they're all subjective.
They are. Okay.
It was a young Catholic priest, kind of nervous. What? He didn't walk into a bar, no.
Okay, all right.
Young Catholic priest was kind of nervous because he was conducting children's church for the first time.
Okay.
So he walked in and sat down and looked at the little urchins sitting all around him, and to break the ice, he said, "Who can tell me why I wear this collar?" One little boy piped up and said, "Because it kills ticks and fleas for up to 30 days.
That was a punchline, right?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
It was impeccable.
Yeah. I thought it was. I just wanted to make sure, because sometimes when you call in, you have multiple layers of jokes here. You've got like 3 or 4 lines that could be punchlines, and I don't want to step on the hilarity.
Sometimes that's part of the fun.
Yes, it is. Thanks, Tim.
It's the Evening Edge with Todd Hollst.
Call Todd now, 937-457-1290, or message him at Evening Edge Todd.
Locally grown, seriously funny on WHIO.
That's right, Micah. The top 8 at 8 on Z93. That's awesome that you remember that. I never did nights. That shift was 6 to 11, 6 p.m. to 11 p.m. And I did, when I first started there, I was just on the weekends. And then I was on 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. And then I was on 11 to 6 a.m., 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. 7-hour air shift. Holy crap. That was long. And then I got moved to afternoon drive, and I was on from 2 to 7, maybe. That's what it was, 2 to 7. Yeah. But, yeah. Yeah, I worked there. I guess I didn't mention that. I I listened to it and won contests, and then I worked there. That was actually my first real radio job on air. No problem, Alex. Yeah, you know what? It's like I got so many little things that I do. Sometimes I forget. I ought to get the amazing Edge Fari out more often. Oh boy. I don't know. Tim, who calls in all the time, who just called, he probably knows some good knock jokes. I am not very good at remembering jokes. Usually when somebody is setting it up and telling me the joke, I can kind of sense that the joke is coming, and I can almost, not always, but lots of times guess the punchline or be pretty close to it. But I don't remember jokes very well. Now, my dad, he was the jokester when it came to that sort of thing. He was a sales guy, and always had a joke because he was always with clients or whatever. What's red, white, and green and does 100 miles per hour? I have no idea. Sounds like a frog in a blender. Is that the joke? Oh, there you go. A frog in the blender. Going to come to you here in a minute. Back here on the Evening Edge, Monday through Friday from 6 to 8, starting Monday, 5 to 7, talking about big prizes that people have won, contests. And I got this great message from Alexandria. It was fortuitous that she won her contest. She says, I just graduated high school, and one summer night, I got into a little bit of trouble with the law, like wild teenagers will do. And my parents did the right thing and said, you made an adult choice that resulted in adult consequences. Now you can learn how to solve and pay for this like an adult. Well, a week later, she was out playing bingo with her grandma and won $1,000. So she was able to pay for her lawyers and court fees. That turned out pretty well. Yeah, that was pretty good. Will, I got a question for you. My producer, are you a fan of the Big Mac?
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's all right. It's good.
Now, how about Big Mac sauce?
It's kind of I would say that's the thing that makes the Big Mac.
Yeah. And my wife, she too is a big fan of the Big Mac and the Big Mac sauce. And you know, McDonald's just announced they're upping the game with all their burgers. Right? They're going to make them even bigger and better and tastier and all that. Well, next week, a lot of people might want to know this. If you use the McDonald's app, and they're always asking you about that damn app. If you order through the McDonald's app for a limited time, you can get free dipping cups of Big Mac sauce with an order of chicken nuggets. And you will be able to put the Big Mac sauce on anything that they serve.
Wow.
Yeah. So when you go in there and you're like, well, what do I want? I like my Big Mac sauce, but I don't maybe want a Big Mac. You get yourself something else, and they'll put the Big Mac sauce on it.
I feel like they always should have been doing that.
Right. This is what I'm saying. Yeah. Why? You could just ask, hey, would you just put some Big Mac sauce on it? Most people working at McDonald's are going to be like, yeah, sure, fine, whatever.
It's not a sacred thing.
Right. The other thing that I noticed, and I don't know if you've ever run into this, I like my cheeseburgers with something very simple. I want mayo and I want pickle. That's it. That's all I want. I don't want ketchup. I don't want mustard. I don't want onions. When I go in and I order a double cheeseburger, because I'm a cheapskate, I'm also on keto, and I only eat half the bun. I'll say, I just want pickles and I want mayo. And sometimes they have to specially make it. I have to pull off to the side because apparently that's just too hard. They need extra time to just put mayo and pickles on the burger. But if anybody else has noticed this, you'll know the irritation that I'm talking about. You say, I only want mayo. They put on like 3 times as much mayo. And I don't know why that is. They think maybe because you're saying, I don't want the ketchup, I don't want the mustard, I don't want any of the other, I just want mayo. Automatically, they think, oh, then they must want all the mayo.
Loaded up.
Yeah. I don't understand that. It's like, no, just put the normal amount on. Because then I take it out of the wrapper and I've got mayo like all over my hands, on my face.
Well, maybe that's them. They're like, all right, you
Yeah.
want mayo? Here's your mayo.
Yeah, we'll give you mayo. Probably just don't like making specialty burgers. And that's their way of sticking it to me. All right, well, there you go. Thanks for listening tonight. We'll be back tomorrow night just after 6 o'clock. You can get the podcast at eveningedgetodd.com, wherever you find your favorite podcasts. Follow me on social media at eveningedgetodd. Have a great Tuesday night. We'll talk to you tomorrow here on WHIO. Thanks for watching, everybody. Thank you. Have a great night. I'll talk to you tomorrow.